tube, see it? Here we go, killing it.
Welcome to D-Lab Tube Amp Theater with your host Terry. On the bench behind me, I have a Peavey Classic 30 amplifier. It runs 4 6BQ5s. It belongs to a band. Unfortunately, when they were out playing, the amp failed. It actually died on them, and they need this thing back quick. I believe I know what's wrong. Let me show you what's going on and see if we can fix it and get it back to them. Here we go.
Alright, the lights are out in the shop. I have a dummy load installed instead of a speaker. Here are the 4 6BQ5 tubes. I'm going to turn this thing on. Hopefully you can see what I see. Let's get right in on these guys. So they did say that the tubes weren't even lighting up, but they are. They may not have left the amp on long enough. Here she comes. Now pay attention to the 2 tubes on the left. When it gets really good, I'll bring you in so you can see it better. So they're all lighting up. Takes a few minutes for this to happen, but I'm sure it will. Alright, amp, don't make a liar out of me. Up. Starting to see a little bit of a wisp of it now. Ah, yeah. Alright, so we'll go right over here. Watch them tubes. If you look, you'll see a red spot starting on the far left one. And it's going to get brighter and brighter and go warp drive, right? So I'm going to kill that. Now, obviously we have a shorted tube, but that could also be loss of bias. So the way to check this is we're going to take the 2 tubes from the left and move them to the right and see if our problem moves with it. Let me do that and I'll cut back. So I switched the position. The 2 that were here are now over here, right? So we'll turn it on and let's see if our problem moves to the right side. Get us right in there again. These were already pretty toasty when I took them out, so I'm assuming it's not going to take as much time. I just don't want to leave them going too long and damage the amp any further. Let's see if we see the old fire shooting out of these 2 on the right. So remember, it was the far left one. He is in position 3 over here now. Keep looking here. Not seeing nothing to the left. But there it is. There's the right tube. See it? Here we go. I'm killing it. Alright, I have removed that tube from position 3. I've got it on my Amplitrex tube checker. Got about 15 seconds to go. And we will test it. And hopefully it comes up and shows a short or perhaps overcurrent on plate. There's definitely something wrong with that tube. Here we go. Well, isn't that special? It shows absolutely no issues at all. Huh. Well, let's try another one of the tubes. Alright, so this one was in position 4. And as you know, in these amps, they actually parallel 2 tubes to work on each side of the output transformer. So this one was in position 4, which was teamed up with that guy there that was running hot. Okay, so let's test it. Oh, look at the current, plate current. Yeah,
That plate current raced at the end of the test. I've seen this on many output tubes. There's obviously an issue with that tube, so we're going to put 4 fresh 6BQ5s in the amp and retest. Alright, I installed 4 new tubes. Unfortunately, I did not have a quad of the same type, so the outside 2 are Sovtecs and the inside 2 are JJs. So far, everything's looking great. I'm going to let these cook, and then we'll put it on the scope and take a look at the signal, make sure nothing's clipped. So far so good, nothing's flaming out. I've got my audio generator now hooked in to the amp. We're watching the output on my scope. I'm going to bring up the volume. Let's take a look at the scope. Looks great. I'd say she's good to go. Quick reaction maintenance from D-Lab. Alright, pretty straightforward repair for D-Lab. I'm sure the band is going to be thrilled when I call them today and say it's ready. That was a one-day turnaround. Luckily, I had those 6BQ5s on hand, but unfortunately I have to keep those tubes on hand because they are a common failure in amps that run them. And normally, when those tubes go out, they will damage your amp internally. Whereas 6V6s, 6L6s, I don't see that. So I'm not a fan of 6BQ5s, guys. But the amp's up and running, successful repair, move on to the next project. We'll see you.